The AT&T American Cup Gymnastics Championships are brought to you by AT&T, Rethink Possible. By Visa, proud sponsor of Team USA. More people go with Visa. And by ADT Security Services, always there. Welcome back to Jacksonville, Florida. You're looking at Aliya Mustafina of Russia. She is the latest in the long line of Russian gymnastics stars. She is the reigning world champion. She is being nudged here by Jordyn Wieber of the United States. We'll explain the inner workings of that. But after Wieber fell on the uneven bars a few minutes ago, she has to feel like a door is opened, and so too maybe Alexander Raisman of the United States. We'll see how it plays out as the women are on the uneven bars, and Ali Raisman is thinking about what's possible here today in Jacksonville, Florida. Say this about the American women. They are very, very good at hiding their expressions. Tim Daggett, what have you seen from her so far?
Well, she's been great. Started on vaulting, very difficult vault, not as hard as we saw from Wieber or Mustafina, but executed extremely well. And on the uneven bars.
Well, Ali's one of those team players. She's an athlete that can get the job done. Unfortunately, on this apparatus, a few technical errors there, but just not as difficult. But again, she hits her routine. She does her job.
Okay, we'll see how the scores break out as Mustafina is in this second group. 8 women, 8 men. The men right now are on the vault, and they're scoring high. Philip Boy, Germany got a 16.1. Jake Dalton of the United States got a 16.066. And right now from the Australian gymnastic team, Lauren Mitchell.
Of course, Lauren, the most successful Australian gymnast in that last year's World Championships, won a gold medal on floor exercise. She said it was a wow moment for her, but it also was a wonderful moment for Australian gymnastics. She said, I think we made it.
Actually, strangely, she started very weak on the vault, capable of doing a much harder vault, and didn't do it, so she's down a little bit in the standings.
This, of course, not her strength.
And once again, wow, this American Cup, it has been fall central.
I think surprisingly on vault, just a couple of athletes that were able to run down that runway and put together a decent vault. We've seen some very simple skills being performed.
Yeah, I don't get it. You know, she actually looks nervous, and you know, she's too experienced and too good to get nervous in a situation like this. I don't know.
For a lot of the European athletes and athletes like Lauren Mitchell from Australia, this is the jump start of their season, a very long season of World Cup events.
But not good at all.
No, she won't be happy.
Well, you fall once again, a full point off. Saw that from Jordyn Wieber. And she just loses control of this handstand position, goes way too early, and there is no way that she can recover.
It's a hard enough event for Lauren. It's not her marquee event. Those would be balance beam floor exercise. It should get better for her.
Now back to the men on the vault. Samuel Hunter and the British men have had their rough moments here. Just 15 months away from trying to represent their country in London. He was in last after the last rotation, Samuel Hunter.
And what's on the line for the British athletes here as well, not only a World Cup event, the American Cup, but also the trials for the European Championships for both Daniel Purvis and himself. The British organization will be looking at their performance here to decide whether they should be on that team in April.
And you know, talking about the hype in the lead up to the Olympic Games, he sounded like an American. He said, I want the Olympics big time. And
gosh, just a rough day.
He will not get there performing like he has been doing today, I'll tell you.
I would say all the time that all the greats in this sport have won the American Cup, like Nadia and Mary Lou Retton, Carly, Nastia. And Mustafina wants to be on that list simply because it's the next great thing that she can do.
And you know, she was compared to one of the greats from Russia to Svetlana Khorkina. And they said, how do you compare to her? And point blank, she said, I have no idols, and I never have.
It's shocking. It is so shocking, because what I always admired about Russian athletes is they remember the greats in their own country. They can whip off names like no other. They see them every day in their gyms, but she will not admit to any.
Tim, what have you learned over the years about champions who see someone ahead of them fall, like Weber did?
Well, it emboldens them, without a question, for the great ones. My expectation is she'll be as good as she can be right here.
She has incredible mental toughness.
Very tricky element. She has struggled on this all week.
She's on.
Can't tell you how many times she missed the bar in training, but it was like I knew that. Very great combination.
Exquisite work.
This is gigantic. Oh, super hard dismount.
She's artistic, she's athletic, and she's tough.
First time she smiled all day.
Yeah.
You cannot teach that.
No.
She just has it.
I tell you, though, she drives that man right there, Alexandrov, crazy. He said it has been such a wild ride. It took so much talking, so much convincing. He said it has been so hard, and he expects it to not get any easier.
Working with women.
I'm glad you said that, Elfie. We'll get Mustafina's score in a moment, but a world champion comes through with a big performance far from home.
Cyril Thomasson.
Back live in Jacksonville, Florida. This is the AT&T American Cup. Aliyah Mustafina of Russia with a 15.766 walks right through a door that was opened by the fall of an American, Jordan Weber. And that was costly. Weber fell to fourth with 2 rotations to go. Proud new dad, Cyril Thomasson of France, as the men compete on the vault right now.
Yeah, he's left his 1-month-old, that little Emmy.
Boy.
Look at those cheeks. He was beaming when he was talking about her. So sweet. He says it's tough going off to practice and leaving her and his fiancée at home.
And what's odd is that we're about 8 feet away from him, and there's a very good chance that he heard us talking about the baby, and there's a little quick thought of the baby in his head right now, which is weird.
Yeah, without a doubt. A pretty nice ball.
Maybe it inspired him.
Yeah, not bad. A little low with his chest on the landing, but...
Of course, he's known for pommel horse. He's got that long, lean line, and that's the event he did so well on at the World Championships last year. Came in 4th.
4th the year before that.
Yeah.
The worst spot ever, and that kind of landing stings the ankles. That's all there is to it. You know, we asked him about the American Cup, and he says everyone knows the American Cup. It is a big, big competition.
Jonathan Horton of the United States trying to make this trip to Jacksonville a three-peat and win the American Cup for a 3rd time. Let's go to Andrea Joyce.
You know, Al Jonathan has been battling some injuries. A broken thumb kept him out of the gym for 2.5 months, only back full strength for a couple of weeks in the gym. Told me that he wasn't even sure he'd be able to come here to compete. Feels he's about 85%, and he says that makes him feel very nervous. But nervous for Jonathan Horton is actually a good thing. He says he performs much better. Evidence of that, 2009, when he won his first U.S. national title. He said he was not 100% there.
Okay, Andrea, Jonathan next up on the vault. Meanwhile, it's one at a time this year, the way they're running the AT&T American Cup, so we'll see a little bit of everybody. This is Hannah Whelan of Great Britain.
And her training partner is Elizabeth Twiddle from Great Britain, who is the world champion and just keeps going, 25 years old, and just keeps getting better. And again, we have, I don't know what's going on. And it's
second
again.
time. That's painful.
Wow.
I'll tell you what it does. It makes you feel like it's a can't wait to see what happens when the British gymnasts take on that big stage next summer in London.
Well, she said she's constantly reminded of the commercials. There are billboards all over town. She admits that it's, you know, it's setting in. It's making her nervous.
But you know, she's in shape. She's not ill-prepared. Last week, she won the British Championship. She's the
English Championships.
Okay, the English Championships. Thanks for the correction, Al.
It's just England.
Wow. But that is going to be really low.
The crowd always admires when you fight through it, and she did do that. Now Jonathan Horton. Olympic medals, this event. At the age of 25, he is hanging around for a London chance.
He was second here last year because of a slip-up that will show us on his next event, the parallel bars. This is also a good event for John. He's going to turn his body 3 times over in the air and somehow try to put those feet down.
Close.
Yes, very good.
They've been scoring very high on the vault, and you have to figure that will too. What did he cover? Some distance in the air.
Yes, he did. 3 times around, like I said, he kind of missed his block just a little bit, but he worked like heck in the air to find that floor. Look at the explosion off the table, and then keep pulling, pulling, pulling. Open up and just that step. But it's going to be a big number for him.
So Jonathan Horton's numbers will be coming up, and we'll see where everyone stands. But we've had a major shift here as this 2011 AT&T American Cup continues in Jacksonville, Florida on NBC.
And you know what, they were
down to third, and Alexandra Raisman to This is the 2011 AT&T American Cup in Jacksonville, Florida. The women have moved to the pressure-packed balance beam. The men are over at the parallel bars. Let's check out the standings of what we've seen so far as we welcome you back to Jacksonville. Al Trautwig along with gold medalist Tim Daggett and Elfie Schlegel. Mustafina of Russia, the world champion, has grabbed the lead over Wang Qishuang of China. And it's fairly significant. Jordyn Wieber knocked down to third and Alexandra Raisman to fourth. And again, here we are with Jordyn Wieber not welcomed by Mustafina, the Russian Tim Daggett. Why was that?
Well, you know, this is a World Cup event. And so what that means is they took from the last World Championships, they took the top 8 gymnasts in rank order. And if someone declined or was injured, they went down the list from the World Championships. Jordyn Wieber, she wasn't even old enough to be in the World Championships last year. The Russians were furious about it. Actually, I checked into the hotel the same time the Russians were coming in after 25 hours of travel, and you know what, they were visibly angry and completely frustrated, and they let me know it.
Well, it may be a moot point now because she fell on the uneven bars, and that has dramatically changed the standings. And as you look at the Russian coach, who was not happy about Wieber being here.
No, he wasn't, and he actually freaked out too because Mustafina was put in a room with another foreign athlete, and they were not happy in any way. He came to me and he said, Jordyn Wieber, she's not old enough. She's not 16 years. She wasn't in the World Championships. You need to do something about it. And I said, I'm NBC. Alexander, I'm NBC.
Elfie, quick thought on Jonathan Horton going to make this a three-peat, try to win this event 3 times as you look at Wieber getting set to mount the balance.
Well, he certainly wants to make it a three-peat, and for Jonathan, he said even with the 2.5 months off, and he's only had 2 weeks of training, what his goal is, he still sees Kohei Uchimura, who is the world champion. He knows what score he scored at the World Championships, and if he's nowhere near there, that he won't be happy even if he wins this American Cup.
Okay, now over to the balance beam. One of the signature shots of the American Cup with the huge American flag behind Jordyn Wieber.
And this will be interesting to see how she can rebound here.
Well, she has a packed set of difficulty. It just never stops. Lots of combinations on balance beam that we'll be seeing from the women. What she just performed, but like I said, she has some difficult skills, and they come even right to the very end before the dismount.
She told me that when she won at 13 as a junior gymnast competing against seniors, she said it wasn't pressure, but with Mustafina here, it's a whole different story.
But at the same time, she was extremely thrilled to be on the stage with her. She watched her at the World Championships. She knows exactly what she's all about, and she's been sizing her gymnastics up with Mustafina.
But this is the way she does gymnastics. Watch this big.
It's beautiful. And Tim, that's right at the end of her routine. I think that's a strategic plan.
This is the Jordyn Wieber we know from competition. A fierce competitor. Huge difficulty.
Beautiful.
And phenomenal performance.
She is for real.
That was phenomenal. Wow.
Well, the fall that she had on uneven bars wasn't because she was out of shape. They come into this competition being extremely fit, and this skill.
One-handed back handspring right into a layout step out. Beautiful.
Nice combination. Shoulders, hips have to be in line with that 4-inch balance beam. Not easy.
You know, it's almost as if they went into a think tank and said, what is the craziest thing that we should try that no one's really ever done a lot? And
that's exactly what they think.
How about one hand on the bar?
You know what? I got to tell you, though, that I don't know if I've seen a more flawless routine than that on balance beam. I mean, that was amazing.
Well, the men are on the parallel bars, and Philipp Boy of Germany, one of the favorites here, he, like almost everyone, had a disaster on the pommel horse, and it just flipped this competition upside down.
His last event vault was great. He scored 16 plus on it, but there is a problem right there. Not supposed to do that.
Kind of shocking because he came into this competition really excited to be part of the American Cup. He was ready to go, very fit, had trained hard for this event. knew that Fabian Hambuchen has been invited many times. In fact, he was frustrated that Fabian kept getting all the invitations, couldn't wait for his time.
And a good routine, a little bit of a mishap in the middle there. But since Pommel Horse, he has definitely been back on track.
I can tell you that Jordan Weber's score on the balance beam was a 15.266.
Tim, you said there wasn't a lot wrong with that. 9.266 in execution. That's hard to get.
Yeah, I have, frankly, I have no idea how they get, 8/10 off of that balance beam routine. I'm sorry.
Huang Qishuang of China in second place coming into this rotation.
While we were away, she was beautiful, as are just about all the Chinese on the uneven bars. I thought she actually got a little bit underscored on that event.
And an equally as difficult event. Very artistic here as well. She's so sure of all her movements and not so sure there. Bit shocking, didn't see that in the last few days of practice.
Yeah, I cannot remember an American Cup where there were so many falls. First of all, this is probably the best field that has ever been at the American Cup, men and women, and we are just, we're seeing falls.
What most of the athletes will tell you, once again, is this is early in the season. It's a very early time for them. Many competitions yet to come, World Cup events, European Championships, and of course later this year in October, the World Championships, which will be the qualification for London.
Oh.
That's just silly.
So that's 2 points off. 2 points off. And I think they do something wrong. I asked her, after the tremendous success of China gymnastics in Beijing 2008. So I said, is there a big banner proclaiming, this phenomenal performance? Do you have lots of stuff up in the gym? And she said, no, nothing. Absolutely nothing. We're expected to pick up immediately and forge on to the next one. This is her first fall. Difficult combination, and she's off right from the start. You see that? She moved to the left immediately.
But this next fall, or the fall that occurred on the split lead, that was just silliness, mental error. 2 full points of falls.
And now we get back to the American pinch hitter who was called in to be one of the gymnasts in this event at the last minute. And after one rotation, and men's gymnastics is much longer at 6 rotations, but after one rotation, he had a huge lead. And again, that Pommel Horse just blew everything up.
Yeah.
For a few athletes.
After 3, he had moved from 8th to 5th, though. A little bit of a leg separation there. He's actually a young kid. Watch this release. Very nicely done. Not a lot of deductions in this routine, I'll tell you. That was good.
I think this is a bonus for Jacob Dalton. I mean, remember, he wasn't even supposed to be in this competition. This is great for his confidence and experience.
Still to come as we watch this AT&T American Cup in Jacksonville, Florida. A Russian world champion, star in the making. Her name is Mustafina, and she's going to try and end a decade-long drought of Russian women's success in America's most important international gymnastics event. Standings after this. Jacksonville Veterans Memorial Arena on the shore of the St. Johns River, next to the home of the Jacksonville Jaguars of the NFL, in Florida's largest city, the site of the 2011 AT&T American Cup. Jake Dalton received a 15.066 on the parallel bars moments ago. We can tell you that the Chinese woman who was in second place now won't be there any longer. She got a 12.833. We stay on the parallel bars. There's a man who had the lead there for a while, Mykola Prudzenkov, and he's still in the lead right now. And Tim, I think we have to put a little bit more emphasis now on how everything about him being in this position is uphill.
Yeah, but you know what? I told a lot of people that I thought that he could challenge for this on the American delegation. They're like, what are you talking about? But he's got a lot of great qualities.
Almost no funding.
Little bit of a split there, though, on that giant. He's not as clean here as we've seen him. How would you like to do that 10 times in a row? That's smarts.
But it is an uphill battle not only for himself but his team. There are only about 10 national team members currently in the Ukraine. Really hard to field a team with just 10 athletes.
This kid's going to be good. He's going to be really, really good. He's not at his prime yet. Come 2012, he's going to be in the hunt without a doubt for an Olympic all-around medal. Doesn't have that standout event, but he's good.
Aliyah Mustafina, first place after the second rotation, getting set to mount the balance beam.
She was not just in first place, but she was crushing the competition by just about 1.5 points. You know, she won 5 medals at the last World Championships. She won 2 gold and 3 silvers. She made the event finals on balance beam. She said it. Someone asked her any disappointments, and she said, certainly. I fell on balance beam. I should have gotten a medal on there too.
Love her presentation into her turns. Very difficult double turn.
Oh boy, and talk about a veteran. Here's the skill that she fell on at the World Championships. That bobble will hurt her, but not a disaster. She held on to that there, but she was actually supposed to do a combination out of it. Beautiful, just the choreography.
Well, she has so many years of ballet training behind her, about 12 years, which means that she started when she was about 3 years old, 4 years old. But you can see it in her training. Very exact positions, very beautiful positions, especially in those turns. Nice combination here, taking a lot of risk, changing direction.
You look at what she's wearing on her feet, a little unorthodox, but gives her a little bit of support and also a little padding, because you know the beam is not well padded and there's a lot of pounding.
Big dismount here, planning a triple twist in combination. Different from the World Championships.
She's going to be close to overtimed here, and she is. That will be a deduction. Not huge, but that step was.
She needed that. I think that was strategic in her mind because she had been having trouble with that dismount in training.
Without question, Jordyn Wieber should inch a little bit closer to Mustafina, but certainly will not be anywhere near enough for her to switch places in the all-around. So this double turn, very difficult. Most gymnasts would have come off the beam there, but she holds on anywhere from 3 tenths. Super hard, as Elfie said, a triple twist that she struggled on workout. And you see the arrows, the legs apart, and that big, big step to the side. That'll cost her a little bit.
Of course, she comes to the American Cup with new skills since the World Championships. I find that pretty incredible.
Back to the Great Britain story. This is Samuel Hunter, and I would imagine, guys, that right now the mission for Great Britain is leave here with some sense of confidence.
And healthy.
Yeah, without a doubt, they really need to redeem themselves, because it's been really messy from the beginning for both of these guys. This is not great so far, I'll tell you. It's a very popular move, this release skill. A nice line. Very open shoulder angle.
Samuel was part of the World Championship team for Britain in 2006, and then he had a few years of injuries, and he said, you know, last year was really my comeback year, and I'm not quite there yet. I think it's obvious in his gymnastics. He still has a ways to go.
Well, huge step on the landing. That'll be at least 3/10 of a point. I think probably 5 because his chest was down, and it wasn't hard enough. Just the start value compared to some of the other gymnasts is much lower on this exercise.
Mustafina gets a 14.833. What's interesting now in this rotation is what does Alexandra Raisman, still to come on the balance beam, do with a little bit of an opportunity here to move up in the standings. Mustafina leads Weber by 1.166. Raisman still to come on the balance beam.
Okay, well we're gonna put you on the stage just like Nasia, right? So you're gonna stand, and this is where they train. Okay, first we're just gonna see how high you can jump. Just stare forward there, right at that camera. Just see how high you can jump. Okay, ready? Just big jump. Just big jump. Good. Wow. Okay, good. Stay right there. Okay, now I'm gonna lift you up. Now I'm gonna push you in the air to get higher. Okay, so when I do that, you just jump as high as you can. I'm gonna come behind you here. Okay, ready? Jump. Wow, that's a lot better. Okay, turn around.
These are expectant moments for Alexandra Raisman of the United States. A couple of routines to go, a couple of chances to make an impression at this 2011 AT&T American Cup. Meanwhile, Mustafina of Russia may think with the floor exercise to come that she has this locked up. She's got a very big lead. Anyway, a veteran of competitions like this, a former champion here, is Nasia Liukin, who's with Andrea Joyce.
And actually, Al, Nasia won 2 American Cups in her career, in addition to being the Olympic all-around champion. So much talk before this competition of the matchup between Mustafina and Jordyn Wieber. What do you think happened? Do you think there might have been some pressure on Jordyn at the bars thinking about that?
You know, I know Jordyn did a brand new bar routine, and she is just debuting it on the podium. So I think in that skill that she actually fell on, she's done it for years. So maybe a little bit of pressure. I think maybe she got through her new skills and the hard part, and she relaxed a little bit.
Is this a showdown you anticipate seeing in London in 2012?
Absolutely. I think both of them. I hope both of them will definitely be there. And, you know, Jordyn's finally a senior this year, so I'm really looking forward to her getting out there in the senior ranking.
And speaking of 2012, let's see, we've got Alicia Sacramone, who's made a successful comeback. Shawn Johnson is back in the gym seriously. What about you? Where are you in all of that? You haven't closed the door.
Oh, no, not yet. I'm still taking it one day at a time, and, you know, just seeing where it takes me. I think this weekend was really cool for me to be here with my Nasia Liukin Supergirl Cup, but also at the AT&T American Cup, and it made me really realize a lot of things.
Get you thinking?
It definitely does. So
you let us know first, right?
I will.
Okay, Nasia, thanks. Back to you, Al.
Okay, Andrea, we've got a lot of gymnastic stars in the house. Nasia Liukin, Alicia Sacramone. She won her World Championship gold medal. Yep, we caught you.
I wish I was out there.
You know, this march to the London Olympics next summer is going to include some very, very intriguing stories.
And you know, Alicia Sacramone, one of her biggest obstacles is going to be her own teammate, Ali Raisman, because they're strong in the same areas.
Here's Ariella Kesselin of Switzerland, which just happens to be what Elfie is.
Swiss, yes. We shared some Swiss stories and some Swiss chocolate. Very difficult opening, one of the more difficult mounts that women are performing on balance beam. I like it. She's taking some risk right from the start.
She got a huge honor back in 2008 being not just the gymnastics, but the sportswoman of the year for Switzerland.
She also says that placing 8th at the World Championships last year was a real accomplishment for a Swiss athlete, and she is embracing it in every way. She really enjoys competition now. She said, when I was younger, I was too stressed out there. Now, I figured it out.
Come on, someone stay on the beam. I thought she had a great quote. I said, what is it about gymnastics that you like? She really struggled and she thought about it, and then she said, I know this is weird, but I like the suffering of training. It makes me feel alive.
A daily grind, and it is one. She stayed on.
Good job.
Yep.
Yeah, she physically looks better than I've ever seen her. A lot of people, you know, start telling you when you're 23 years old that it is time to move on to something else.
Well, and she is proud to be a woman
Look at
of
that.
the sport.
Look at how her foot.
That's the extra padding on that taping job on that ankle.
That's a quarter of her foot that was on the beam, 3/4 of it off, and she stayed on.
Strong toes.
Women on the beam, men on the parallel bars, one at a time in this format of the Cup. Koji Uematsu, 6th place after the 4 rotations.
He has not had a great competition, but certainly a heritage from Japan. They were dominant. From 1960 to 1976, the Japanese men won 5 straight Olympic team gold medals.
And interestingly, we asked him what it would take for Japan to beat China next year at the Olympic Games, and he said, well, you know, the Chinese never miss. For Japan, we sometimes slightly miss. He feels it's all in the execution.
Very nice release skill. The Japanese as a whole, one of the best parallel bar workers in the world. It's really just China and Japan. They kind of leave everybody else in the dust a little bit when it comes to this event.
Koji, of course, was 5th at the World Championships on this event.
But you know, Al, you talk about this too. Landings. Right there, you see that small little hop. He said that every single landing is critical if Japan is going to overtake China at the 2012 Olympic Games.
It's going to be very hard for him to move up, but we'll be checking the scores as Jonathan Horton and Alexandra Raisman of the United States are coming up.
Score for Aliana Passman of Switzerland, 13.966. Now on balance beam for Great Britain, Hannah Wheeler. Richmond on balance beam. On parallel bars, the score for Koji Uematsu of Japan, 15.433.
The next few minutes are very important in the life of Cyril Thomasson of France, and what he could do for French gymnastics here is make a little noise at the AT&T American Cup. Third coming into this rotation as the men are on the parallel bars. Jonathan Horton right after him, and Alexandra Raisman of the United States preparing to go on the balance beam. So that's the next few minutes here in Jacksonville, Florida. Jonathan was in second place after 3 rotations.
He certainly has the potential on both parallel bars and certainly high bar to move into first place. He's an Olympic silver medalist. Many thought he should have won high bar in Beijing. Very nice start there. Whoa! Jeez. That's unusual.
Almost teeter-tottered backwards.
You kind of see that happening with little kids when they're learning that move. Very clean gymnast, though. I'll give him that, without a doubt.
This, of course, is where he can show off those lines, but not the high-flying acrobatic skills that we typically see on this event from Japanese gymnasts and Chinese athletes.
Have we seen any stuck landings today?
You know what? Well, yes, we did. Jordan Weaver on balance beam. Look at, which way he's going to fall over? Nope. That's a very uncomfortable feeling, Al. I got to tell you that, because I've been there.
Here we go. 4th place after the second rotation, and that is not the place you want to finish.
Like we said, had such a phenomenal year last year. She was second in the American Cup to Rebecca Bross. But so far, she has done her job.
She has a big routine planned here. If she does all that she's capable of, her start value is a 6.5. It's a big score, potentially.
And you know, to be part of that Olympic team, there is one person that it is critical that you impress, and that is Marta Karolyi. And Marta says, I like this kid. I like her demeanor. I like her calmness. She's cool under pressure.
Big acrobatic combination here.
Oh. There's a few tenths there. Very nicely done.
Taking a little risk, holding the leg up after that skill. Tell you what,
she did a great vault. She was just as good as she can be on the uneven bars, and now there's another big routine. This is what gave Carly Patterson the gold medal at the Olympic Games in 2004. This Arabian double.
Consistent day.
Yeah. Wow, that was one of her feet on that dismount. She kind of missed the beam a little bit. That was a great struggle to put that to her feet.
Very good measure.
So here's the dismount. Let's look. Well,
hard to tell.
Maybe from that angle a little bit hard to tell, but you can see she was definitely under-rotated. But she's a quick thinker, slides that leg back.
Nothing happens in this room that Marta doesn't see.
That is for sure. That is for sure. And remember, she is not just, you know, it's so ironic because her teammate, you know, her idol when, you know, when she was growing up, Alicia Sacramone, they have the same strengths. And the Olympic team in 2012 will be only 5 gymnasts as opposed to 6 gymnasts. And they will be battling, my guess, for the exact same spot.
So Jonathan Horton of the United States. He needs to be better than a 14.9 to take the lead.
And he actually has a brand new skill that comes off right at the top here. Very unusual to do this on the end of the bars. Nicely done. Great job. Jonathan was winning the American Cup last year, till parallel bars, and there was a spot on the bars that he said he didn't chalk over, and he slipped right off. A little bit of a step there, but not bad. Well, very doable. That was a good exercise.
With one more apparatus to come, that's the high bar. Alexandra Raisman waiting for her score. She told Andrea Joyce that she was only 2 when the Magnificent Seven won the gold medal. And, she got tapes of them doing it, and as she grew up, she watched the tapes and really bonded with that team and couldn't believe that she was in the same building with those women who won the gold medal in Atlanta in 1996.
We are waiting for her balance beam score on that event. Actually, I think I thought that Zamolodchikova from Russia, the double gold medalist in the Sydney Olympic Games, was judging.
She is.
She is judging.
Yep, she is judging. It was interesting watching all the judges throughout the week. All the other countries were huddled together, and Zamolodchikova was by herself up in the stands, doing her own thing, not mingling.
I see her right there.
Bottom right.
Yeah.
Little ponytail.
Apparently there is a keypad problem with one of the judges, and they've sent some technical people over there, and Jonathan Horton has just taken over the lead in an effort to win this event for a 3rd time. A 15.066. He's going to be feeling very confident.
He does, yes.
Especially with his best yet to come high bar.
Going to be very interesting, though, because his high bar routine potentially it's very dangerous and super risky. So he, I believe, will have the advantage of going after the person who is in 2nd place, so he'll know what he needs to do. He might get take a few things out.
On fire, man. Way up there, right where we're gonna be.